We are the adults in the room, 23 minutes past 8 o'clock. We are having a good time right in here in the studio. And time is a flying. And guess who's just walked into the building? Mr. George Ikua. And we're gonna be having a discussion around fatherhood with Mr. George Ikua. Karibu sana, my brother.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you said that it is damp and it's a different world out there right now.
I think it's raining problems. It's not raining anymore. What?
George, thank you so much for making time and going through the rain to come through for our show, man. And as Eric has told you earlier, we are the adults in the room. It consists of me, Emmanuel, Eric, Barbara, and someone called the Mskilizaji who sits there. All right, so we are many.
Mm-hmm. And then plus
are you feeling the presence of many people?
I can see those who have sired have been put in one corner.
Yes. Watu watoto wanakaa ikona yangu.
Conspiracy. So Eric, as is our custom, as we're talking about fatherhood, do you want to break it down, brother?
Absolutely, and let's get right into it. So we are discussing fatherhood. If you looked it up, fatherhood simply is defined as the state of being a father. A big emphasis on being a father. So it's continuous, all right? Mm-hmm. Most societies invest a lot in preparing women for motherhood, but little, if at all, any preparation goes to engaging men about what is required of them as fathers. To help us make sense of all of these, we are joined again, as Emmanuel has said, by George Ikua, our father himself to Pedro and Jasmine. Karibu sana, George. For somebody listening to us and wondering, George Ikua, huyo ni mgani? Who is George Ikua?
Wow. I'm trying to edit.
Do not edit. This is
there was
adults in the
silence
room.
in heaven.
Real, authentic.
Went to be with the Lord 4 years ago. But she doubled up as a mother and a very strong disciplinarian and a nurturer and a loving caregiver and all those things many wonderful single mothers do. So somebody once said that to know the road ahead, you have to ask those coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And as somebody who's gone ahead of me,
Yes.
I want to ask you, just so as we begin, what are some of the things you would consider that a person who's single needs to put in mind, all right, before getting married?
Married.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I think it's different for both sexes.
Yes.
So I'll speak on what I have experienced as a man, and then the theories I have for
Yes.
for the ladies.
Don't worry, I'll back you up.
Kuna mtu kwa kiwanja hapa. So I think what people who are single don't understand about marriage is that first, it has nothing to do with dating. I think marriage is the opposite of dating, because when you're dating, it's about you. So you look for people who make you happy. You look for people who
Complete you.
They really don't complete you.
Supplement?
They complement you severally. I mean, people who you feel electricity, attraction. It's about you. It's what are you getting out of this? So you hear the ladies say, I have a list. And then you hear the guy saying, I have a type. But the truth of the matter is that marriage is about the other person. So the biggest disconnect that I would tell people who are not yet married is like, look for someone who, because you have no experience in making it about the other person, look for someone who brings the best out of you. And what I mean by that is that somebody who encourages you to be the best version of you, or if not encourages, creates a space where this is possible. This sounds a lot of jargon and very fancy. It's just who allows you to who holds you accountable to you, who will not allow you to make silly mistakes or silly moves, just so that we have fun or it looks cool. Because that's exactly what marriage is going to be. It's someone who is helping you stay on a development path. Okay. Now, when you're dating, if I was to take my last paycheck and take us on a trip around the world, I'm actually being a very good boyfriend.
Yes.
But if I'm married and we take a trip around the world with my last paycheck,
you're a silly husband.
I'm a silly husband. You start to get what I mean?
Yes.
So that's the accountability that I'm trying to talk about. So when you, which eventually, then the person has to be your friend. And some of the things that we don't tell single people is that the things that fade fastest once you get married is things like looks. Looks
Yes.
go away. I'm not saying they
Where
go
do
away.
they go?
Mine are shikilieng, but I feel you. brother.
Where do they go, man?
Okay.
When we
Luckily, girls don't marry for looks.
Yes.
I mean, yes, you're vetted for the looks, but that's not. I think the ladies are a bit wiser than us. in this.
Yes.
I know very many men who will marry for the legs, for the size of the posterior.
Yes.
For
Yes.
this, we
For
are not.
the
We are not.
face.
We are not the cleverest people when it comes into this department. But those are some of the things that will disappear, and then other things like to the ladies, the most basic things. Money comes and goes. So if you're marrying money, what happens when money goes? Do you go? These are some of the things that single people don't actually talk about.
Yeah.
So every young guy is looking for a hot girl, and every hot girl is looking for a successful guy. Those are the things that will go away. And some mannerisms are sugar coated by some of these things. I like to say that a beautiful witch is still a witch.
Yes.
And a rich idiot is still an idiot. You know what I mean? So don't go falling for those semantics. I think that's the most, from what I'm seeing in the market, that's the biggest advice. And then you look at this person and you start to ask, just how far would I go for them? Not how would they go for me. Would I go for them? That's the questions no one asks. Because everyone is sure, I love him or her because they do this for me. But how far would you go for them?
Okay.
That's an answer.
Yeah, that's quite interesting, Mr. Georgico. I'm not a father yet.
Yes.
I'm working on it.
All right.
It's a project. ongoing.
Night after night.
Night after night.
Chowing and chowing and chowing and pounding
You've seen
yam.
the famous pasta. Go on.
Yes, yes, man. So
And he's eating groundnuts.
yeah, I remember there was a time my wife was with child, although the baby didn't make it.
Sorry.
But I remember during that period, I was asking myself those questions of, will I really, like, what kind of dad will I be? Then I was feeling like, hey, I have so many things that I don't admire about myself, which now I have a baby who's gonna come through and look up to me. Like, those are the thoughts which were going through my mind. I don't know if it's normal.
It's
Did
very
you-
scary.
But-
Did you at some point think that they can inherit some of those things?
Yes. In fact, that was my greatest worry. I'm like, yeah. She or he will inherit this habit, and it is a terrible thought. But now that you're here and you're a dad,
Yes.
I guess we'll have this conversation about how really to be a good dad. I read a quote by an anonymous quote that anyone can be a father, but it takes a real man to be a daddy.
Dad, yes.
All right. So one of the things that I read about being a good father is that a good father loves his children, but he doesn't let them get away with murder. All right. He strongly disapproves of his children's misdeeds, using tough love to prove a point. All right. And then likewise, a father doesn't reward his children for actions that are expected of them, such as helping in the house chores or performing well in school. Now, is this because when I look at some of my friends, they don't do some of these things that I'm reading. They are very soft parents in quotes, and me, I'm talking about the ones I know. I don't know about the other ones. So if this is not a very popular way of parenting now.
Yes.
But like, what would you say about what I've read about what a good father is and the modern father that is out there, especially the urban one that is out there right now?
Parenting has evolved. First, what you've read can be a bit extreme at times, and I'm just saying my opinion. You must realize the age of the draconian father is kind of gone, because what happened is that when we were growing up and we had very tough parents, your parents parented the same way your neighbor's parents parented,
Yes.
and the auntie, when you travel to the auntie's house, parented the same way, and your grandmother parented the same way. So it was kind of like a middle thread. So even if my mom became extremely strict, then if I dash into the neighbor's house, same rules. I guarantee you
They
the
will
same
beat
rules
you up
happen.
and take
They'll
you
beat
home.
you up and send you right back.
Yes.
Right now, this is not the case on the ground. It's because what happens is we've become very cosmopolitan. I think it's like we looked at the West and took the worst part of them, and took that, and then left the best parts. So we took some of these gray lines between parents and kids, and then left the hard work ethic that the West have. So if you try some of these stunts that were tried on you, on your parents, you're going to lose your kids.
True.
And primarily, in my opinion, because of one thing, you're not the single source of information anymore. So your child has something called Google. They can, anything they can ask you, they can look it up. As young as 6, as young as 5, as young as 4. So you're not a connoisseur of information.
Yeah.
So you can't be saying, I said so because this is the way. Like, hey, we
they'll tell you
read on that stuff.
They will tell you,
Come on.
teacher said that
Yeah.
this is not how it's
Teacher-
supposed. Yeah.
And when they realize, so what happened? That's one. 2, because you have no control on the stuff coming to them. If you play the draconian father, you close some doors, some communication doors.
Yes.
Now, while that would have survived in our generation, your generation, all that, the current generation, if you lock that door, there are so many people who are talking to that child. And there are so many other open doors and virtual doors. So they can go into a chat room, they can go in the playground, there are all these other kids and all this. So if you don't know what your child is going through, trust me, you will lose them. And finally, like the community, you have to always be talking to your child so that you try and build a persona. And this persona is what is going to step into the playing field when they go to cousins and all these other things. So you cannot go and pull those things of my way is my way. So you literally, we have been forced by a circumstance of living in the city is that your child has to be your friend. If your child is not your friend, they're going to get a crazy friend out there.
Yeah.
We never had things like kidnapping before. We never had child molestation. We never had all those
Sexual
things.
assault,
Sexual assault. And sexual assault, primarily is not an external affair.
Yes.
It's inside your house.
Yes.
Yes.
And inside your house doesn't mean your nanny or your watchman. It's your siblings,
Yes.
your friends when they come over.
Yes.
So if you are this unapproachable person,
You'll never know.
you'll never know. And so then begs ask the question, so what do we do? Are we going to become like these super soft pink parents?
I was thinking about, you've said something quite profound, that there's a place for having the child becoming your friend now. And you cannot, be very stuck to the very draconian ways that a lot of us were brought up.
Well, yes.
But one of the things that I think we've even mentioned on this show in numerous conversations we've had, how does a father like you balance between disciplining a child and also having them remain your friends?
And doing the right thing.
Yes,
Yes.
because if I say I fall out with Barbara as my friend, it's very easy that even as adults, they'll be
Yes.
like, "Na venye namnunuliaga sweet, aki sitaiongeleshe yo ng'ombe."
Yeah.
And then we start saying, I will not be going to Barbara's house, ati yo lift yo unipea sita. Why? Huyo mchana na yo gari yake ati eritoboke. So now, so now, how do you balance the two? Because I grew up in my mother's house,
Yes.
and kids were supposed to be seen and
Yes,
not heard.
not hard.
My mother was, ukipita sitting room, angalia mlango ya bedroom kama umeenda. Nikisikia tu, mtajua mimi ni nani. So how do you strike the balance?
First, Barbara, I'm not the one who called you ng'ombe.
Trust me. It's okay.
Me, I'm still in your good books.
Yes.
All right.
That's
So-
why you're sitting next to me.
Excellent. This is working. So this is the thing.
Yes.
Discipline is not violence. That's what's changing.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
If violence is taken as it's not violent.
We grew up with violence.
Yes. So what is discipline? Discipline is when you explain when a child knows and you explain to them that this is a wrong action and there are consequences.
What the consequences
So
would
when
be
you
a
mean
punishment.
Yes, punishment.
Maybe
And punishment
standing
can
on a
be anything.
corner, maybe not watching the television.
Do you
And it's going to
discipline-
affect how they
Yes.
react to you.
I have a question for you, just as you continue to answer,
Yes.
Eric. So, do you discipline your children? And when I mean discipline, do you use violence? Okay, when I mean violence, do you hit them? You
No,
spank?
I have never hit my kids, and the most
Are you
disciplined
serious?
kids. Absolutely, we've been talking. So the thing is this:
How old are your kids?
9 and 6.
Barbara, hey, Barbara, man.
No, hear this.
But it's fine.
Hear
Yes,
this.
yes.
So go ahead.
Let me explain how this
No,
works.
I'm-
And unfortunately, you can't change this thing midway.
Yes.
You have to be purposeful with it
From the start.
From the start.
All
Yes.
right.
It fails if you decide to become ati munenda kuongea sahi. Aye, my friend. This
You have to start it early.
if you are a gangster from day one, you stay gangster.
Yes.
Yes.
You remember even when your mom used to beat you, she used to there's like a
kuchapa
explaining.
ujinga.
There's like a explaining part. I don't know, is it before or after why I'm going to beat you
Yes.
or whatever. Not that I used to hear.
Yeah.
At that time you're terrified like crazy. But the thing is, the model I took, or that we took, was that we want to. You're creating a small adult, right? So whatever it is you tell this person, first thing is that 70 to 80% of all your child is watching you. It's not doing what you say.
Observation.
It's observation.
True.
If you come here and the way, to be even put it very simply, my son will treat ladies the way I treat ladies around him.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
My daughter will expect to be treated by men the way.
You and your
Yes.
brother treat her.
Yeah, exactly. And any other lady in a space. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So first you realize that. Two, the characters are different. So when you talk, it's almost like you're talking to a small person who's just not grown. So right and wrong is a bit inherent in us. Like I can tell you, there are very few people who go and steal or are mean and they didn't know they were being mean, right? So you pass on a lot of responsibility and accountability to the child. And then the child communicates. Because if you're going to live through fear, now, when you've agreed, this is what has happened, right? So, for example, what did we say about that? So why are you doing this? What are the consequences? And then you make sure, where we go wrong is that you make sure you live throughout you live out the consequences. Whether it's usually just withdrawing stuff. Children generally want to please you as a parent. Unless a child hates you, which is very hard.
Yes. They
So,
have a very loving heart.
Children generally, which is why even you, when you used to be beaten, you used to cry, and then you go and cry where you can be heard. You never cry where you can't be heard. They all
Do you want to be?
where she can tell you, okay, come back now. You get. So children want to be told, okay, it's all right, you know. But that's to do with like whipping. And I'm not saying whipping is different. I'm just saying I have found it so effective because I always say, if I'm not there, which means the cane is not there, what do you have left? If you're not busy instilling internally, then you'll just be like us. When the cane was not there, we were very naughty. We would try everything else. Everything we were told not to do, we would try. But when we saw the cane coming, in whatever form it was, our father or mother, whatever, we transformed into the most holy boy. And which is why a lot of us went through a rebellious phase immediately. We passed the beating age.
Yes.
A lot of rebellion immediately came into us. So you find, for me, you have to discipline your child to behave like how they behave in your absence.
So for you, your methodology would have been what? Like, what did you use for now that's discipline? Like, was it go stand at the corner? Was
You
it,
start at those.
go and sleep? Us guys who had the go and sleep one. Jackie, go and sleep! Because it's a weekend movie. So you want to watch the movie. So which one?
You
did
know
you
your
use?
child. I mean, like my son is really into computers.
Yeah.
Withdraw the computer. My daughter is a girl's girl. So withdraw the girl's things.
Yes, I have that. I have a girl.
Whatever pains, whatever pains them, it's easy. Like they'll and just be adaptive and slowly you'll see them forming their habit.
Emmanuel, could it be that we used to be tooped a lot because we didn't have a lot of options and things to play with?
Yeah.
Or maybe corners to turn.
No,
I don't imagine my mom would give you a corner. She
No,
would strip you.
that wouldn't have worked with us. You see, the thing is, right now, if you don't do it, if you whip, they are going to school and they are not whipped. You're going to have a monster in the school because schools are not allowed to beat them anymore.
Yes.
So now,
But is whipping different from spunk? You know, there's
They
kupigwa.
pick
You know,
up-
as we were beaten.
As we were
As we were
beaten.
beaten.
And,
There was violence.
There's now I'll spank you. You know, spank is not whipping.
Is that sexual?
Like it's a different. It's a
Just-
different. Like you use maybe
Like a sleeper
ruler
or
and then
your
you
hand?
just tap.
I can
on-
see Barbara
like
is
it's
in the
not-
market.
It's not being. It's not being. like I feel like us guys were beaten
Well,
up.
ours is violent.
So I feel maybe one of the new ways of like fathering, especially for boys, is like you don't beat him up, but just some light physical punishment, light. But we're gonna talk more about that when you come back. I want our guest to relax. Hajakunywa maji bado. You know, we want to give him something warm to drink so that he can just relax. We're discussing fatherhood with George Ikua, who's already dropping gems right here in the studio, alongside the usual suspects. Please, you can join the conversation with the hashtag Adults in the Room. We'll be back.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Everything nice.
Spice up your life.
Spice and everything nice. Alright.
Spice up your life.
I was the way I am now in the 90s, you know. This was actually Brownstone, If You Love Me. You know, if I was the way I am now, you know, in the 90s I didn't have money, so I was enjoying this music, but without money.
So you're wishing you.
Understanding enjoy Wimbo Plus na pesa.
Pesa yako. Daddy.
11 minutes to 9 o'clock. We are the adults in the room, and we've been joined by our special guest today, Mr. George Ikua. We are having fun right here in the studio, man. I don't even believe that this is actually work. This cannot be work. This is a lot of fun, man. But Barbara, what's our topic today?
Our topic today is fatherhood. So plug into all our conversation through our social media handles. That is spicefm.ke. On Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, the hashtag is Adults in the Room. And our guest today is George Ikua.
You know, before we went to the break, I was sharing with the people right here in the studio alongside our guest, Mr. George Ikua, about the difference between beating and spanking. And I was saying the way us, we were beaten. And nowadays, children are
We were
threatened with a
duped.
good spanking. You know, spanking is not.
It's polite.
You know, the one for
Is
being
slippers
beaten,
spanking or-
you'd cry those paka makamasi natoka.
I was beaten
And
by
then
a
you even,
cypress one day.
you know, you start doing those. You know, if you that one is from a beating. I don't think you can get that from a
There's so
spanking.
many spoiled kids who you even threaten and they cry like that.
Really?
Check you back.
There we go.
And when we're on the break, I brought up a conversation around. You see, we adopted. I think we adopted this
The white
not
man.
beating from observing the West.
Yes.
And I was sharing that in the West, the white kids. Sometimes when I watch a lot of I watch a lot of comedy. So the black comics would say they'd go to their white friend's house, and the white kid is totally spoiled. You know, she or he, you know, they talk back to their parents. You know, they're unruly. But the black kid, when you go home, the mom just says, "Eh!" and you dash to your room.
They even
and-
look at you. You don't need to
and
say. We have
tandika
this
your
look,
bed.
which I have.
So do you think that the white kids are more disciplined? I mean, do you think that this story is true, that these white kids are not disciplined because they're not being beaten up?
Okay. Before I mean, what we just spoke
You want to
about.
combine a question on the
Yeah, I
same line?
wanted to combine a question, George.
Yes.
You know, I'm a practicing believer.
Yes.
There's a scripture I like. It says, folly is bound in the heart of a child.
Yes.
And only the road,
Yes.
right? Only the road can drive it far away.
True.
And I like that you gave an example that each of us are, born with some sort of vices. Like take a typical 3-year-old boy girl. You say, Mama, don't climb up the shelf to take the cookies. All right, Mama? Check, yes, Mommy. You drive to the gate, you forget your keys, cookies. Then you ask, who took the cookies? Not me. And then they can hear. So kids innately come with those defects. Okay?
True.
So what is your view on folly being bound in the
Yes.
heart of a child
Okay.
and using the rod?
No,
straighten
use the
Strike it out.
spunk.
That's
Yes,
spunk is
so
for the-
yeah, sorry,
Go
I
ahead.
used the two
When you
questions.
No,
enter
but
the-
I get what you're saying.
when you enter the what is it called? 50 Shades part.
Oh. Then we can use the spunk. Now let's stick the
spunk.
root.
Yes.
let me explain this. And when you say that you don't beat a child, it doesn't mean. I don't know where we get the idea that means the child isn't rude. The
You've never
rudeness
been
does not
pinched?
come from the beating. My kids are extremely polite. My daughter is always winning awards for kindness and politeness. My son is literally like a leader in the school. They're very disciplined, very focused. It doesn't mean beating is the opposite of discipline. I think we take it wrong. And
vice versa
Yes,
also.
vice versa. And there's so many things that you have at your disposal that you can use other than discipline. For example, voice intonation. There's a way I talk, my kids know we're in trouble. There's a way you lower your voice, there's a way you engage. There's a way you call them out, there's a way whatever, And as I'm saying, you can't start this thing midstream. And I'm not saying the parents who beat their kids are bad. No, don't get me wrong. I'm saying what works for me. And I explained that my reason for not beating is that, one, it didn't work on me. I think for me, I spent so many years resenting my mom for removing
beating.
for
the
drawing
violence.
blood. I remember one time when I was in class 4, I went and told the teacher that I'm adopted. My real mom can't beat me like that.
You couldn't believe it.
There's no way. There's no that war was serious. You can't beat your own child like that.
I actually took my own mother to
Yeah.
the cops and wrote a P3.
Yeah.
Serious.
You-
Yeah,
went
this is
to,
war.
you
Are
went
you
to the
serious?
police
Serious?
station.
Yes.
And then
And they went for her and she beat them up. She beat 2 cops up.
seriously.
Were they gentlemen or ladies?
I don't know. But so I just took the high road. I started walking on the highway, running away from home.
I don't think
home and
Yes, she was home.
You've been
You know-
beaten.
Yes, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's another rebellion that you're playing around with. Where You're playing around some other rebellion, which in this over-informative space of the internet, you don't know where they're going to turn to. As the most we could do is you went to an authority, I went to a teacher.
Yeah.
These guys can turn to the net.
Yeah.
And that's a very dangerous space. And that's my fear around that space. To what you were saying about the Western child and the black child. I don't think bad behaviors come from being whooped or lack of being whooped. I think it's things they have observed, especially in their first line of adults, people they have seen. And so a kid then just learn how to cuss out or all those other things. But that being said, one thing we don't talk about when we look at the Western world is that the Western world equalizes their children immediately they enter teenagehood. And they equalize them through something so simple we don't do here, work. When you become a teenager, they throw you into the working
Labor.
Labor.
I remember Malia.
yes. So
Malia took a summer break to go work at
Yeah, I remember.
at
Yeah.
one of the
Fast food.
restaurants.
they will work you. I mean, by the time you're 14, by the time you're 16, you're at McD's, you're pushing, you're doing whatever.
Yes.
In Kenya, that's child labor.
Yeah, not even that. As here, I think when you're in those teenagers, your parents are you're their new project. You're the one that is going to make them shine.
Yes.
So they can't wait to brag with your A or your doctorate degree or whatever.
He's in this
crazy
high
things.
school. He did this
Yes,
as well.
he's in this. Oh, look at him. He's
Oh,
so
he's
smart.
playing the piano.
The guy has no work ethic, nothing. The guy is just like
A vegetable.
a project.
And before
Like for you
realize-
to show off.
Yes.
You know, you can't introduce him without introducing which school he is, or whatever grade he did, whatever it is. So the Western culture really, really works the people. And by the time they're eating, they're paying rent at home. And so it's like the world is introduced to them and squeezes any rough edges out of them. Over here, you've an
That's why they
80
move
you've an
out to
80-year-old
Vancouver.
who needs money, who needs
Outside.
handouts. He needs, and it's an adult, It's
They
an
need an
adult now.
allowance.
They need an allowance. They're bringing their girlfriends home to your
My God,
house.
that thing annoys me.
Especially in the urban setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lady I used to date whose brother, who was I think 38, used to bring his girlfriends, and there were many, to his mother's house.
Eric, are you
So one
serious?
time we were having, I dropped the lady in Karen, and we were having lunch, and then this guy left the mom and dad's house to go buy a bite with this lady and then go back to his bedroom upstairs to eat with that lady.
So they walked out.
So it's like they get
then
something
walked
and
back
then
in.
back to the house and
Yes,
upstairs.
and then they were
Not
saying
in my
hi.
house.
They were saying hi to the mom very casually. Hi, mom. And then they left with the mom's car.
How old again?
So I was 38.
Not in my house.
That is about 3 years ago, and he still stays there. So he's 41 now. Yeah.
Do you feel like it's over
That's
revenge?
failure.
Like,
No, that's failure
like
to
you see the way
launch.
we grew up hard.
Yes.
Like we grew up hardcore.
Yeah.
So now you don't want your child to go through any hardcore.
That there is that.
But you're a
This
monster
lady I
in
was
your house.
dating,
Yeah.
George, said to me,
Yeah.
I blame my mother about how my brothers turned out because she was overly gentle, overly caring. This guy would take the mom's car, smash it against the wall in his drunken stupor, and then the mom would be like, boy, like a 38-year-old man with beards being boy.
Is that the part I'm allowed
Then-
to beat this child?
then you know, she take the car to the garage and say, boy, I'm so sorry, next time be careful, or if you want to drink, even let me organize a driver. So you're right in saying that in Luo we say tayo. You are being tired. And something you said important before I forget, George, you said that kids are very observant.
Yes.
I think there's a place for leading with your life.
Yes.
As another scripture yet again that comes to mind, Ephesians. I read about fathers a lot. It says, fathers, do not exasperate your children. Exasperate meaning you're smoking, telling them not to smoke.
Yes.
All right? Instead, bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord, which
Yeah.
meaning you are that training.
Yeah.
So have you ever seen me slap your mother? No, Dad. Why would you? lay
Why
your
would
hand
you?
on whatever?
Yes.
And
But you're here slapping his mom and you're telling her, usipige mwanamke. So you're exasperating your son. So I thought that was a perfect example.
Yeah,
I-
that is.
I think also what we do. I think, and this goes not just in the parenting, into very many things. There's something in us that has been told that.
George, I
Oh,
don't,
sorry.
I don't want you to waste this gem. I want
Yes.
you to say it quietly,
All right,
pole,
all right.
bila pressure. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we're going to take a second, you know, we're going to come back. You know, the lines are going to be open, 0719012600. We're talking to George Ikua, and we're having a discussion around fatherhood. Please chime in and join this conversation. This is Spice FM, broadcasting from right here in the capital city, you know, of Nairobi. I'm in studio with Eric Barbara, with myself, Emmanuel, and we have a special guest in the building, Mr. George Ikua. Eric, you'd sparked a conversation right now before we went on the break.
Absolutely, that's right, Emmanuel. Remember, you can catch all these conversation live. We are reading some of your feedbacks on Facebook, Twitter, and all the way on Instagram. Our hashtag is Adults in the Room on Twitter, and our handles remains as always at Spice FM KE. Before we went on a break, if you're joining us, Karibu, we are discussing fatherhood with George Ikua. And before we went on a break, Emmanuel, you want to read something?
Yes, I want to read a couple of tweets. Adrian Osonga says he's tuned in from Kisumu, Dala, and he has a request. Please play me I Miss You by Darren Hayes. Mubi okoro bara igoma okereria. All right.
Dramenya mono.
Brian Kirui says, wow, a nice topic there. Kudos to you right there in the studio. Byron says, it's great listening to you guys. We love you guys from Luandeti.
Wasi waliondeti wame-identify watu. Barbara, what are you hearing?
No, I'm hearing a lot. Everyone is like, a nice topic and the information you're giving us. Thank you very much. And there's a lady who's asking for a link of what we are discussing. Our CEO Evans and Lucy Maxwell say thank you and thank you for the information.
Oh, fantastic.
So go ahead, Eric.
Yes, so just before we went on a break, Karibu, we are discussing fatherhood with the phenomenal George Ikua. And I was sharing before we went on the break that one of the things I suspect in my suspicions that would help somebody become a better father is leading with your life. Your life, you cannot say the things I do in private, hey, hizo ni zangu. No. Because kids are observant, you want to lead with your life. So you want to speak your truth and talk and walk both your talk and your walk. And the reason I said this, I was just tying it to another scripture on fatherhood that I read in the good book of Ephesians. And it said, now fathers, do not exasperate your children. Instead, bring them up in the training and the instructions of the Lord. Meaning that I remember, I sound so preachy today. Isaac said, I will follow the God of my father, because he saw him, Abraham, following what you know, ideally would be the way somebody would go. So I was just saying that more than saying for them to do A while you're busy doing Z, it's important that what you're saying and what you're doing align, all right? So they're not confused. All right. So if you beat their mother and then you turn around and say, don't lay your hands on a woman, that is very wrong. They'll be like, what are you talking about? You've been hitting my mom from when I was 2. You think I didn't hear her crying when I was eating my dinner and so on and so forth. So I feel like leading with your life, even much as you can instruct them without the rod, leading your life, in my view, is more effective than all these other things we try to employ. Sijui kiboko, msukume kichwa, because they'll rebel. They see you more than they hear you.
Exactly.
So George, your thoughts on
Eric,
that?
I agree
Yes.
with what you're saying, though I find what both of you are saying a bit. There's at the part I'm going to say, and they make fun, I'm going to say it's debatable. I agree totally with what Eric is saying and totally with what you're saying. However, I come from the thinking of, despite the lessons of how you train your children, how you discipline them, and there's something that he said, intonation, I do that quite a lot. Instruction, how you live your life by example, that I do that a lot. But I sometimes feel from the age, I don't know, maybe it's because of my background, and maybe that could actually be what many parents are. We feel like we have to spunk a bit. We do not want to create violence that, like what was done to us.
You don't create?
Violence.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
We do not want to create violence or be very hard on our kids, but we feel like we want to spoil the road and spoil the child. And granted, as you said, there are kids who are raised without the stick and they turn out perfect, like the way yours. But there are kids, and Eric said, some are brats. I've seen. Some are just annoying. So where do you strike the balance? Because I've actually been listening. I don't know. I was trying to figure out, okay, so you totally don't even pinch these kids. I'm like, wow.
So
And
which part of what I've said you
yes,
don't agree
no, I'm
with?
saying I agree with what you're saying, totally.
Yeah.
But as for him, I'm like, at what point you do not actually instill. That's what I was saying with him. I find what he's saying debatable. That's what I was like. I agree in the issue of instruction. I agree that you need to lead by example because kids need to. And intonation, everything you say, I practice. But I'm that parent that once in a while, I just want to exact my powers. I don't know if it's mean, or maybe I was raised badly. You know, it's or maybe as you're saying, it's in us. But it's in us that sometimes we feel we take the biblical or the faith that we profess, or how our parents raised us, and we feel like maybe they'll turn out badly, or I do not want them to turn out like so and so's kids, because I can tell you for a fact, I have seen friends who do not, even family members who do not discipline their kids, and they talk back at them, and I'm like, oh Lord. And people ask me, Barbara, your child is disciplined. And yes, I'm not bragging, my child is very disciplined. She does well in school. She's received those things of kindness, best handwriting. In fact, there's a time Emmanuel was laughing at me at the parking. I was looking at my daughter's file, and I'm not that much of a beater, but there are moments I have punished. In fact, over the weekend, those parents that she did something silly, I pinched her, and I was in the hotel, and my sister's like really, but I'm like, don't do those things.
But Barbara, I think George,
So-
but George said something. If George, you can correct me if I'm wrong. George said that he's not saying that parents who beat their kids are bad.
I get that. He said
and
that.
he says because of how he was brought up being beaten, he prefers.
And
He
that's
has a
what I'm saying.
preferred way of leading.
And I understand that. And that's what I'm saying. Could it be the way that some of us react is because of how we were raised? Or because of a fear that we have, that we do not want our kids to turn out badly. Because yes, you're right to say discipline does not equate to punishment.
Punishment, yeah.
That is true. I totally agree with that.
George, do you want to reply, Barbara?
Yeah. So
Ataendelea.
there are about 3.
Wow.
Trust me, woman must speak.
Yes.
So there are a couple of issues here. So I'll just pick them one at a time. So what happens is that there's something called kizungu mingi itaingia hapa. There's something called living vicariously through your children. And this means you either live your dreams through your children. So you believe that you are sent as a parent to give your children everything you never got.
Yes.
Or you think you are sent here to give them exactly what you got. So one of the two. Which is wrong, because this is another human being. I don't know where
Or do you think they're taking advantage of you?
who.
Our kids, sometimes I feel they do.
It's like, so what we do is that we tend to overcompensate, like we need to fix the way we were raised. What we miss out is this. If you are raised so badly, how are you? How are you, this guy seated here? How are you, this wonderful lady seated here? You were raised well, right? And I think if you were raised well, whether or not it was apparent to you at the time, you turned out all right.
True.
But that does not mean that you pick that handbook and hand it down. Because two things have happened. Life has changed.
Yes.
Life has changed. Like I'm saying, you're not the only source of information. You're not the source of discipline. You don't have a community around you that kind of moves just like you. And even if you're at the church, you can't say that the members of your church are the same ones who you're in the same school, you're in the same neighborhood. Basically, you have cocooned them. This child is going around meeting all manner of people. So then for me, I step back and I say, while we're beaten, for me, what it brought us was rebellion. And for me, it didn't work. When I look at people who, and then the second thing is this, there is no baby Olympics. We cannot race in how we parent because we are different and the children are different.
True.
You've reminded me something. Somebody once said that if you enter the rat race, you'll only be the fastest rat.
Yes, you'll be a rat, a very fast rat. That's the thing. So when you enter this competition and say, me I beat, me I don't beat, but your children are different.
Yes.
So for example, my son is a very, very, very gentle soul. And for him, it is extremely crushing to him to disappoint me. Do you get it?
Yes, I know
So
those kids.
for him, to beat him would break him.
Yes.
To tell him I'm disappointed is
It's
even
worse.
worse punishment.
Yes.
You,
You can
you
even
get what I
cry.
mean?
My
So
wife-
know your child.
My wife
No.
told me her dad once hit her on the head with a cup, and she remembers that as the worst day in her
Worst
life.
day in her life.
She
That's-
cried.
No, I
Exactly.
can relate. My dad pinched my nose, and that's the only thing. And I cried like a river.
So I have a very, very cheeky daughter. Like she's a storyteller or whatever. But so you learn your child. So with her, appreciation, listening to her and appreciating her, just telling her, I recognize you, is her biggest word. So with her, I use the carrot. Now, that's what I'm saying. We don't take time to learn our
our
children.
kids.
What we do is that we pick the book we were raised with. We either do the same or the opposite, one of the two. We don't even bother. And then these are different people sitting in front of you. You get? And so for me, when I took an active decision to form, so you discipline them very differently.
Yes.
Like I said, one is computer, one is talking and all that. So when somebody comes and says, but you're not pinched, I'm not pinched. I'm not beaten, I'm not whipped, I'm not.
And you're
nothing.
okay. Yeah, I get
And
it.
they are okay. Like now, they'll know at 10, they'll jump into bed.
You
It's-
don't need to
I
have
don't
a
need to be there.
conversation.
And but it's taken a lot of work.
Yes.
So I'm not saying don't beat, don't discipline. Just be aware that this is a very different person and you need to manage this relationship.
Yes.
When you're talking about, because there's who you are and there's a way you carry yourself.
Yes.
Please know, like when you become a parent, the most important thing is to start fixing you. And especially the things you are embarrassed about you. Because those are what kids pick up.
Yes.
Right? The things you have issues with.
Yeah.
Those are the things that you need to start facing.
True.
And kids do that. So, for example, if you live in Jericho and you think living in Jericho is a problem, your kid will, I won't lie, your kid will
Will
grow
pick
up
up that.
thinking that Jericho is a problem. There's nothing wrong with Jericho.
Yes.
You get it. But
Yes.
if you think it's a problem, if you think
And convey that across to them.
because how is it that if you ever look at a child has the same tastes of food as the parents?
Us.
It's not. Don't believe it's hereditary. Because me, I like malenge, my child will like malenge. No, it's because you've been fed that thing.
In fact,
There's
George, you're
even-
right. I read a report once that said that they did a survey in Kibra, and when they asked kids what they wanted to become, most of them were saying their father's career.
Yeah. So when you own, your child draws their sense of self-worth from you, not from what you tell them, from the way you carry yourself. If you are a bitter, angry person, and you can't people then say, "Do you want me to be acting happy in front of my children?"
That is
I mean,
mean
that doesn't
that's
work.
bad.
Come on, but you, if you are going to be a parent, you have to make a conscious decision to bring your children into your realm, into your way of thinking, into your world, whatever it is. And I tell people, that's what I'm saying, no baby Olympics.
Yes.
There's no right way. There's none of us here was born with a book.
Yes.
So there's no right way, there's no wrong way. But you have to be sincere with yourself and know your kids are going to become exactly mini little yous.
What do you think about sharing your, or like the methodology of sharing also your vulnerabilities with your kids? Because sometimes you paint this picture that you're a small Kenyan Superman, so your kids don't know, hey, dad
Struggles.
like me, I discovered my dad's vulnerabilities after growing up. Like he'd hide many things from me. He'd hide that sometimes he's broke.
Yeah.
So he'd say, just wait, kidogo, I'm gonna sort it out. So what do you think about that?
I think you're setting yourself up for a lot of failure. So first, the superhuman thing, that comes from nature. Like your child will always think like you're God.
Yeah.
Your
You're the
child,
best of the best.
whether you can never do any wrong, you're the funniest. The mom smells. Everyone's mom smells the best. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's you don't have to work for that. This other part, you're setting up for failure because
In fact,
Yes.
George, I don't want you to rush through it because those are specific gems that I want to hear properly.
Yes.
Without rushing you, man. The conversation is still going on Twitter with the hashtag adults in the room. Please jump on there. I'm seeing on Facebook, guys are saying they're tuned in. Precious Ann, Lucy Maxwell says she's ready, she's tuned, she's listening. Weru Paul says he's listening. Kiplangat Ezra says Ndani, but now at Olesos Technical, locked into the show till the end. And let's play some Donnell Jones as we go and meza mate, as our TV brethren say. Tune tumeze tamala mate. Alafu turudi.
Tutarudi.
Yeah, so we'll be back like a boomerang. Barbara is already in love just by listening to those lyrics. Barbara, it's long since you heard such deep lyrics. Yeah.
being sung to her.
Tell those men to
Imagine.
listen to Spice FM. Sawa?
They do.
Do they stream on spicefm.co.ke?
If you're not streaming, please start streaming.
No,
That
if
is
you're not streaming, you're not
www.
seeing Barbara anywhere. Yeah. All right. You need training. Listen to Donald Jones. Listen to the lyrics. Alafu ndio utaweza ku-access Barbara. Ndio Barbara mpaka dacheza vikola mali.
Yes, my darling. Emmanuel has said.
20 minutes past 9 o'clock, we are the adults in the room. George, I just want us to get back into the conversation. I was talking about showing your vulnerabilities.
Yes.
For if you've just joined us, by the way, we are in studio with George Ikua, and we are discussing fatherhood. Fatherhood, yeah. So I was telling you the way I never knew my dad's vulnerabilities until I reached a certain age, and looking back, I even appreciate some of the things he was able to do with some of the little resources that he had and some of the decisions that he had to make across so many kids. Those guys were those families where we had stepmom, step brothers, so we were like 22.
You were several.
22 non-children, huh? Underline the one known. So anyway, that's a story for another day. So we were discussing vulnerabilities.
Yes. So like I was saying in the break, the thing about vulnerabilities is a lot of us are posing for our kids. And what is coming out is that we are walking around like trying to be supermen and supermoms to these kids. And what I was saying is this: your child inherently, by their nature, thinks you're a small god.
Yes.
You're like super mom or super dad. If you ask most kids who's their hero, it's your dad or your mom.
They want to be a
so they
mother
love
or
you
father.
anyway. So we need to get over the fact that your kids love you because of doing something. This is a funny thing. If you moved to a single hut in the middle of West Pokot, your kids will love you
That's true.
anyway.
That's true.
You need to get it into your head. They don't love you because you pay or you do something like that. Now, when you're not vulnerable enough to show them the ups and downs of life, you are setting them up for a huge disaster. Because most likely, then you'll put them maybe into a private space where they are also cushioned. So maybe a private school, a small private closed up community, and everything. You work hard behind the scenes to make sure that your
You're
kids never
sacrificing.
ever see any suffering. And what that does is that it tells your child, this is the way life goes. Life is like
Life
a
is smooth.
smooth thing.
Yes.
what you're setting them up is that when the problems come, they will think it is you who has stopped loving them. That is what you're setting yourself up. Number two, when the playground bullies come and tell them a little bit of the truth, then you have destroyed your child.
Because
I
they
like
hear
that playground bully story for somebody who's listening and doesn't know
Yes.
what that means.
Oh, so if you understand at the playground, if you remember, tulikuwa tunaitwa mchongwano. But mchongwano has gone bad these days because parents are telling their kids about other kids' parents.
parents are gossiping.
Parents
and
are gossiping with their kids.
Yes, in their houses.
So
yes.
if you are fired,
yeah, that's true.
it's your child will hear it at the playground. If your father was
Baba nani
arrested,
alifutwa?
like that. If you guys, your car was auctioned, you don't hear it on the playground because there's another mother or father talking down about you.
Or your neighbor is talking about you and your family
So if you
in their
don't
house.
own, and the thing, and most of these things, it's usually about money. Now, for those who are in business, for those who are employed, whoever it is, this money thing, in its own nature, is either permanently leaving you or coming towards you. It never stops. Like money in its own nature can't sit still.
Yes.
So either it's coming to you or it's leaving you.
Yes.
It's current. It's always
current.
flowing.
Yes, it's always flowing. So when you understand that, then you not having money is normal.
It's normal.
It's supposed to be that way, you know. But unfortunately, we've taken it like a huge definer of where we are in life and all those things. But that's a topic for another day. So when you don't expose your children to that, you then now you have a kid who is embarrassed because he has one pair of jeans. I mean, such crap.
Or doesn't have enough sneakers to play soccer.
I think I grew up on one small pair of shorts that were jeans, and I think I wore them until they entered like my butt crack. Like this. so like I wore them like for 4 or 5 years. They tore, we repaired, they tore, we repaired, they tore. And we're okay.
Yeah.
And it's just a fact that my mom made us own our situation, and we didn't think there was so much anything wrong with that. So if you don't expose your children to your vulnerabilities and leave even money, even emotional things, like a lot of couples are going through divorce.
Yeah.
So you want to pretend you're okay. It's not okay. Divorce is horrendous in its own nature.
Yes.
Walk your children openly. It's just that the
Speak to
parents
them.
don't see eye to eye together. It doesn't mean your father is now an evil man. Don't
Paint a picture.
don't paint a picture. So vulnerabilities around that, the bereaved, like myself and somebody else, you need to talk openly about these things.
Yes.
And then you'll be amazed at children. Children can walk with you. In fact, they'll be your source of strength in many times. Yeah.
Eric, before you ask your question, because I'm sure you have one, very quickly, what do you think of the bad cop, good cop style of parenting?
Oh, it works.
So it works. Huh?
It works. It works. In fact, it saves you from a lot of the spanking.
Yeah.
You know, but you need to be very careful. You keep swapping the roles. You know what I mean?
Oh, don't let
Don't
one
demonize
person,
one.
One person can just stay bad cop, then
Yes, that's a bad thing.
Because most times the lady is the one who's
You will have
bad
good
cop.
Yeah, but
No, the bad cop.
okay, but you know, ladies are generally terrors in the house to both children and
The
husbands.
Yes.
they're both suffering this one. But what I'm saying is that be very careful when you're doing good cop that you don't start having sidebars with your children as the thing. And I don't even see why we need to go to the good cop, bad cop way. My thinking is this. The child is not the problem. The action is the problem.
Yes.
You get it? So we discuss the action is the problem,
And how to deal with
and then we discuss why it's the problem, and then we discuss what are you going to be punished for. Funny kids will even volunteer the punishment themselves, right? So you when you do that, then the child is not left feeling like they are the problem, or like there's one harsh parent who keeps pointing out the problems. So we know what the problem is, and it's that action, so that you don't have a child. You never want a child to think that they are bad. It's doing this is bad. And now this becomes difficult because we are parented a lot without explanation.
Yes.
So, for example, we said this is an open space.
Yes.
Open space. Somebody who's parenting a teenager, the son came and asked, so why is sex bad? What do you answer?
Sex is not bad,
Okay,
but
right.
at the right time, you start.
So where is this time
That-
being defined by?
and you have to have a
You
conversation.
do realize most of us define the bad part of sex among
we were
young
taught
people.
that sex is bad.
yes, because we were taught,
Yes.
and then we turn around and then we tell them it's bad, and most of us, if you ask us, it's because
You're young.
of AIDS.
Utapata
Actually, that's where we
mimba,
go.
You'll get
We
pregnant.
go to AIDS,
you'll
or
get
we say God said so.
sick. Yes.
Now, you're messing around with this to people. You really need to engage your child on what's wrong with what they're doing.
Because already
Pornography.
they have the information.
Drugs. You can't just say, you know, the era of, that's what I'm telling you, you're not the
Source of information.
only source of information anymore. You can't just be saying porn is bad. Okay. Or none of us have those conversations. So let me say,
That's
like
true.
you said, tell a girl, a miniskirt is bad. Why?
We grew up in that era.
Exactly. So go on. Like, why? Because I said so. Really?
And we were not
Or
given
this
an explanation.
alcohol that I'm drinking
I
right now.
remember
Alcohol is
My
for
dad was
adults.
very
Yes.
anti-hipster.
You gotta how we are
and
parenting.
Yes.
We're parenting without explaining our value system. Because we don't actually have a value system. We have a generic one which we pick from wherever we pick.
Yes.
Mommy said so, daddy said so.
So I hear that thing I picked, it's bad. That thing is bad. It's bad. It's bad. That guy, what you created is somebody sitting until 18. They can't wait to go and do it. So have you parented?
No, you haven't.
So your home's value system, you need to look at it and understand it and then say, okay, we do these things this way because this way. We're a deeply spiritual family. This is what we believe in. This is what we subscribe to. You can't have blanket
Declarations.
declarations. No, it doesn't.
Again, we need to have a value system in our families and what you believe in, and not how we were parented, as it says, blanket declaration.
Yeah, and if you want to understand your parents, go sit to them. Tell them, okay, you used to say, like right now you
Go to
understand.
umalize shule.
Yeah,
You'll find it.
what does that?
So all of us were waiting for that particular
Then we
point.
finish. Then we're like, okay, now
Yeah.
it's time. Everyone who finished from 4 couldn't wait to get to the bar. You remember? Why?
To go out or to
Like we all
party.
couldn't. Like we're like, go to the bar.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I cannot
And to
wait
have
to
sex.
ejaculate.
exactly. Can we ejaculate?
And
Then
then you wonder because this thing feels good, man.
Then you're like, this is all that.
Cheki ubaya ya kupendua menzi wako hivi na ujirelieve namna hii ilikuwa ni nini? Hizi kofi mam, hizi kofi za nyuma na ni vitu nzuri.
So, George, there's someone who has like the mature men who are mature but they're still in their parents' house.
Yes.
Is that their father's fault that he's like they failed to show them about responsibility?
I wouldn't. I think first it's I would like to blame my whole community, and then I go backwards to the parents. This is the thing. We have made this whole thing that the men spend their days foraging for resources, right? So what happens is that our men leave the house very early in the morning and come home very late with an expectation. I don't know what empire is this we're building, right? Because I've not seen too many empires around this city. But all the men are leaving the house every day. And you're told, and the men have been told that your work is to provide.
Yes.
Provide, perfect,
Right?
protect.
Ni do too. If you ask dudes around
Rudi
Nairobi,
na pesa.
Rudi na pesa. You know what I mean? It's like there's like a magic tree, which the entry fee is being a man, which if you enter, you pluck some money. So there's some unrealistic expectations upon our men. What has that done? All the boys are now being raised by the women. Now, this pressure for money and many other reasons. I mean, the people are going to bash me for this, but many other reasons. The men then don't want to go home for many other reasons.
Yes.
Right? So because they don't want to go home, so it's work, loco, bed. You come too stoned to hear the noise.
Yes, to be talked
You get
to,
it?
to be asked anything.
What is this doing? All the boys are being raised by who? The
Their
women.
mothers.
So you have what we call pink men. Pink men are overtly emotional, can't make straight decisions, you know, keep saying I feel bad, you know, those things.
Really, George? Really?
Okay, men don't understand
But I
this
get
thing.
what you're
Men don't
saying.
get this thing of I feel bad, right? So I feel bad, I don't know what, you know, all these crazy things.
They're in touch with their emotions.
And then seeing too many things, just like a woman would. That's your power. Your
Yes.
power is to see very many parallel things.
Yes.
And our power is to see one and focus on it and really
Yes.
and really run with it. So what you end up with is a very messed up generation that has just come out. Because so suddenly these guys are supposed to be men. They have no clue how to be a man. Now there's been a lot of focus on the girl child, the boy child, the guy is just there.
It's hanging.
Now it gets worse where if the guy gets a job,
And he's a pink guy.
he's a pink guy. This is even worse. It's better when they're broke. When he gets a job or he gets some money, everyone celebrates pink rich boy. So you have a guy who is being called a man, and just because he has resources and he's grown up, he has some beard, and he's being called a dude. This is the guy. What does he know other than go back to mommy? Tell me what he knows. We blame him. We tell them, oh, you're spoiled. What does he know?
That's mommy's boy.
You know, us, the way we were raised, like going back home was no option. You know, like it was,
Yeah, of course.
there was
It was
no
a
option.
one-way
If
street.
you
And a
talk,
one-way
yes.
street.
Yes.
Ukishatoka, who go to
Umetoka.
Rudy. You know what I mean? Like it's
Today's men have an
it was
option.
gangster. But now with this soft, so you have you try and sit with your father. Most fathers will ask, umesoma. Some, in fact, he'll go back. You see, he'll tie the resources, the sentence back to the resources. You know how much fees I'm paying?
Oh, I paid.
I paid. And then they watch the command being put down because he has not paid the fees. Or because of whatever. So that the wives are shouting at the men in front of them. So we have actually broken the role of a man in the home. And then we are shocked that
We've
all
turned
the
out.
girls are complaining that there are no men to marry. We all created this. We all came up with this crazy thing where that 38-year-old man
He's still chilling at home.
is still chilling at home because he can't agree to go live in a small one-bedroom.
Because we started
In
out from
Kino.
yes, we started it from one bedrooms. They don't want to be uncomfortable.
Who then wants? It's the mom.
In fact, you make a very interesting point. My friend was telling me over the weekend that his friend's child, who mostly was raised by the mother, was refusing to move out of Karen again because he says he does not know how to navigate. His salary is not enough, so he lives back
Are
at
we-
home with the mom because he's earning 52,000 bob, and he says in Karen you
you-
can't afford a house.
Yes.
at that amount.
So he thinks he needs to live in Karen.
yeah.
And,
He's
then,
mad, he's
and this is the
crazy.
time where the mom will say, go talk to your father now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all this time, she's been busy yelling at the dad. You've not paid fees. You didn't come with her.
Our
You-
mortgage is due.
this-
You've not done this.
this thing where we have decided that men are small money machines has side effects.
Our ATMs.
It has side effects. You can't expect.
Thank you for saying
To
that.
be pushing this guy to the limit.
Wacha nikwambie.
Yeah,
Wacha nikwambie ndugu yetu.
Mmepata hapa pati ya kurili.
Wacha nikwambie ndugu yetu.
Ikuwa tumelia. Tumelia.
Hapa lazima tupige makofi.
Ukuwa tumelia juu tumenyanyaso. Mimi ukiniona hivi ni kadri ya
Mimi-
uwezo wa Mwenyezi Mungu.
Yes.
Juu nimefinyangwa hapa.
Retired.
I feel you.
Nimefinyangwa hapa Nairobi
Yes.
na hawa dada hata nimetoka kwa hiyo ulingo.
Yes.
Ni kitu ya ajabu.
Mimi ningelia lakini sitalia.
Na unastahili kwenda nyumbani, unaweza fungiwa mlango.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So I mean, let's start. I mean, I celebrate you guys for having a show like this. We really need to have these conversations. There's some unexpected, unrealistic. Let me show you. Look at the young guys. The young guys think there's something wrong with being broke, and I keep asking them.
Yeah.
At 22, you're supposed to be broke.
We were broke.
You're supposed to be broke.
Yes.
George,
But-
as you're saying those things, 0719012600. Please call in. We have George for exactly 23 more minutes.
All right.
And I'm sure you want to take advantage of his presence right here in the studio. Go ahead.
Excellent. Yeah. So you're supposed to be broke.
Yes.
So I was giving a talk the other day to a bunch of 20 to 25 year old men, and in a room of 100 people, 2 guys were in stable relationships. So I asked them what the heck. They said, we can afford it. I said, afford what? Are you buying?
Why are you even in it?
You get what's going on in our community.
Yes.
So we have put such pressure to the young men, and we have said, if you don't have money, you can't date. And so where does this guy turn to? When does he learn how to create a space where he's a man in a relationship? This is not happening. And so he starts thinking, like what you're saying, 52,000 is not enough. And when you ask them, enough for what? To take you out. Why is it like, I think when we'd go out at the age of 20, 21, at that point, the most we could do is afford 2 beers for you and the girl, or even Fantas. He's been expected to buy a mzinga.
Yeah, that's crazy. Let's pick up this phone call and see what people are saying. Spice FM, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Morris from Kisumu.
Morris, karibu sana. Do you have a question, comment, or unasema nini leo, Morris?
Actually, I'm really excited about this conversation.
Yes.
It put me to a place in the, let me say, last 2 months I was being that I have a son and we broke up with the mom. But then I've always tried to be the best guy around him. Jesus. Okay, I'll call back my credit.
Oh, sorry, Morris. Morris is reloading.
There's a tweet. Also keep the tweet coming. Remember, Dance in the Room is the hashtag. Wise man says I was raised by a colonialist dad. He was working with a whites back then. And when he was drinking with his friends, he would call me to test. When I would do so, he would knock me up so badly that I would remain with scars. Since then, up until now, pombe naonanga kwa advert.
That's painful.
Spice FM, hello.
Hello,
Yes, sir.
I'm Elias from Eldoret.
Karibu sana, Elias.
Niko na swali.
Yes.
At times napata kwamba unaona mzazi kama baba unajaribu kucorrect mtoto, but mama huku anasema achana na mtoto yangu, you understand? So unajua inaleta conflict. Saa mtoto anasema baba ni mbaya, mama ni mzuri. Mimi naweza jibu aje hiyo swali?
All right, George, you have a question there for you. 0719, please, I hope you've noted it down, but just go ahead. You can answer that.
All right. Well, I feel that situation, and it's what I'm saying. Attacking your man
In front of
the child, the monster you'll end up with at the end. And it's sad that it's the gentleman who called, not in the presence of his wife, because I sympathize with him. I can feel that thing. It's us versus you, and the sad thing is that this conversation can only be had with both parties. That being said, there must be a solution. I would encourage the gentleman who called in to keep going. To keep going, right? If he remembers and like if we remember, the parent who disciplined us was the unpopular one.
Yes.
But right now, it's the one we
loved
thank.
Yes.
Do you get it?
Yes.
It's the one we thank.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad was pretty easy. He was come we go. You know, it was easy flow. But my mom was crazy primary school
More
teacher. She was on fire with us. But right now, all the lessons and all the manner I become is because of her.
Absolutely.
And when we sit with them, it's her. I keep pulling aside and say, "Hey, thank you, mom." You get what I mean?
Yes.
So what I'm telling him is that keep going. If you don't worry about children, don't love you because you.
We are the adults in the room. We only have 11 minutes. I don't know about you guys. The conversation is dope.
George has come
Yes.
back again.
Oh, hey, man, anytime, man. Anytime,
Yeah.
anytime.
So, George, I was asking you about the events that you're having.
Yes.
Which is this Saturday.
Yes.
I don't get what you want.
Yes, that's the title.
A no holds bad conversation about what women wish women. It's an interesting
not women,
poster.
it's-
It's
What
a no
we
hold
would-
no hold bad conversation about what women. There's men is in brackets, all right. Wish women, now WO is in brackets. So it's what women wish men knew about them.
It's actually what women and men
Men.
Yes.
wish women and men knew about.
about them.
Yeah.
So
you
it's both sides.
Yes.
So like I was saying, it's very interesting what we spoke in the break. The genesis of fatherhood or motherhood is actually your partner.
Yes.
And this is very important in understanding your partner. And what we realized is that we are not talking to each other. We are talking at each other.
Yes.
Girlfriends are complaining to their girlfriends about their men permanently.
And not to
Like,
their men.
Not to their men. And no, when they tell them, they're not telling them what's wrong. They're complaining at them. Like I told you, like I learned there's a difference between sharing and complaining. So if you ask, most married couples in this town are on autopilot. This is the truth.
They're winging it.
They're winging it. So you're keeping up appearances, and it's because if you ask most ladies, they don't understand their husbands. They're like, I don't get you. I don't get what you want. If you ask most ladies, I run the home for you. I raise the kids.
I'm there for
I'm
you.
there for you. I'm present. Look at all this. I chose you. I agreed to marry you.
And you're not
and you're not
reciprocating.
reciprocating. You're hardly ever here. I don't get you. Your work is the boys. Your work is golf. Your work is chasing deals. You don't even, and your
Paying
money
rent.
seems to be for other people other than us. That's the complaint the ladies are having. And the gents think there is a noise sound bar in the house. There's like a sound bar that just makes noise in the house. Ding. So in fact, most guys just don't want to go home. And if you ask most guys, they complain they don't even get somewhere to vent. So we thought, Renee and I thought, what about if we have an event where people just say, look, and we advise, don't come with your spouse. Come and just try and understand, how does the other side think? I'll give you a very simple example. When you tell me as a lady that when you come home and say, nimechoka hii gari, say in traffic, your car could not, the indicator stopped working. Nimechoka hii gari, nimkebe, I'm done with it. You're sharing.
Yes.
You know what I hear?
That
What do you
don't-
hear?
That you need a new car.
Exactly. This is what a man hears. A man hears,
Yet I'm
buy
not
me a
saying
car.
that.
Exactly. Then I reply, are we going to buy a car or do school fees? You get?
Yes.
Then you tell me, who asked you? So it becomes a fight.
Yeah.
You
Because I
understand?
feel you're not
You
understanding.
see where the fight comes.
Yes.
Because I don't understand you. Also, women don't understand when a guy is trying to, like, why a guy who is going through financial problems would go and sit and have a drink with the boys.
Okay, I've never understood
They
that.
understood. They're like, you save the money.
Yeah.
You get it. If you really want to move so hard, you just save the money. So they don't understand the way men are wired and women are wired. And we're not saying after
Out
this
of
event.
curiosity, why do men do that? You're broke and you're still going to put
Go
money
to
in
the
the
event, Barbara.
I'll let
It's on
you.
Saturday.
It's on Saturday. I'll let you know a secret.
I'm going for golf.
Yeah, he's letting you know.
I'm going to let you know a secret of men. When you understand that the center of a man is the ego, when the ego is bruised, he goes to where it is best repaired.
The center for man is
It's the ego. So, if you are not the repair factory, a man will go. And men egos are repaired by sitting among another crew and pretending either the problems are not there or being validated by the other men.
Yes.
So they wanapata nguvu. You get it? Motisha. Which is why sorry to say, but if you're being a crazy one, do you know what all the little girlfriend does? The little girlfriend just polishes the ego. She does nothing else.
Yes.
It's just that it may involve sex or whatever it is.
Or just being there.
But mainly,
You're cooked
it's
for
validating.
egg-
It's
egg
validating.
yolk.
Nile bas.
Bas.
So
I keep telling ladies, if you want to understand a man, go hang out with a 3-year-old boy. A 3-year-old boy is about what?
Yes,
Reward?
yes,
That's a man.
yes.
So you like as long as you manage the good job and the bus, you got him.
Niliambia msichana mwingine anipembeleze.
I'm done with this man.
Akanitukana.
But and also on the other side, and this is to do with ladies. If you tell most men, like how, and you and Barbara, you can help with this. How 4 simple phone calls or texts can change a day.
Imagine.
Even if you're saying nothing. Now the thing is that us men don't know how to communicate to say nothing. So if I call you, I have to be saying something.
Or conveying a message.
Usually if I call you, I can't call you then to say, then you tell me, I was just calling.
I'll be like, what the?
Ikua has lost his mind. Right? Now women do a lot of this.
In fact, my friend here, Emmanuel, and he calls me, says the reason I was calling you was.
Exactly.
He starts with that.
Now-
Like, how are you? Anyway, the reason I was calling you was.
Thank you. Jump into it. So, but when you look at the ladies want, that's a connection time. So when you call and say, hi, I was checking up on you. While to me, I would think it's like the dumbest thing anyone can do.
Well,
But-
I find that very sweet if you checked up on me.
Exactly. But we don't
Nice.
check up on each other. Now, this is what I'm saying. Come on Saturday. Let's understand these little pet peeves. Tell us what your husband has been driving you nuts for. What you.
Manuel, do you want to go?
What you.
Definitely, man.
Yes. Come through. Come through.
If-
We'll be
if
at
I-
James Woods. Be a DJ. We'll party after we finish arguing. And we have fun. Like mature.
So chupa kila mtu.
Kuja.
I'm kidding.
It's a party after party.
Kuja.
kidding,
Party
but-
after party, man.
Yeah.
All right.
So also, if I follow you on your Instagram, are you on
Yes,
Instagram?
I'm on Instagram.
Facebook.
At
Is
Ikua
that
George.
true?
Yes. So the link should be there. At Ikua George. And you look for George Ikua, you'll find me. You'll find me. I think on Facebook. Facebook, I'm quite busy. Instagram, the same. Twitter. So by tomorrow, I'm sure I've posted.
I
all
feel
those
like
things.
we needed 6 hours for this one, man.
No, fantastic.
Eric,
Yes.
you wanna appreciate?
George, thank you, man. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming in such
you.
short notice.
Yes.
And you've shared gems, man. We
Thank you
appreciate
so much.
I was taking notes.
Oh, good stuff.
Ferociously. Watch your rewind. In fact, I'm going to buy this tape. You know, the pastors say, buy the tape. So thank you so much
You
for
honor
your
me.
time.
It's
We
100
appreciate
bob.
you.
Thank you,
Yes, and,
thank you guys.
yeah,
And you're doing a great job. You know, not many people are having in a market where everything that sells is udaku.
Yes.
Udaku, whether true or manufactured. It's always very refreshing to find a sensible conversation.
Yes.
And you change a community one conversation at a time.
Absolutely. Thank you so
So
much.
you guys,
Apple George Umenena.
Something.
You've said it. You've said it really well. George, straight home from here.
yes, straight home, man.
Say hi to the
The little minions.
the little
Yes.
ones.
Yeah.
You're definitely gonna be back. I hope you know.
Aye.
Because I feel
I would
like
love to.
We're not done yet with the
We can talk
conversation.
so many things. So
Yes,
call me.
yes.
I'll come.
So thank you so much, George. Barbara, si useme asante.
Kunipatia
Tafadhali.
nafasi.
Ndio hiyo nafasi.
Thank you so much, George. As we always say, the first consumer is the adults in the room. I have learned a lot. I have picked a lot that I need to change and improve. Yes.
Yeah,
And
but-
especially in parenting and not fatherhood, but motherhood in my case.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Today I didn't pick so many of your calls, but I'm sure you've enjoyed the conversation wherever you are. Please follow George on his Instagram page or on social media so that you can also, his inbox is wide open, I'm sure. You can also continue the conversation with him directly. George, thank you so much for coming through. Eric, straight home.
Absolutely. I'm going to lie down and maybe chew something.
All righty, Barbara.
Straight home, though I hear there's a lot of traffic on my route. So if you're on that road, let us know. Keep
Barbara, I
us
think
updated.
we'll have to buy motorbikes.
Yes, at this rate.
Or what's it called? A drone.
Yeah.
So that we just jump into a
George
drone.
wanaishi Kitengela. Ni
Suburbs.
watu wa-
Down the side.
Suburbs,
Suburbs.
yes, suburbs.
Kukinyesha ni mvua. Saa zile kunyeshi wanakohoa.
Don't worry. I hear the city is run from that direction.
Tell him.
Annually.
Eric is a
Annually.
CBD guy. On behalf of
big
Mumbi,
table.
our super producer, and Brian Amliota, our digital master, we just want to wish you a very good night. Thank you for having us. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock, all the way to 10 o'clock, we'll be back. Music all night long. You don't have to go anywhere.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life.